Vladimir Putin has once again declared that he's open to meeting Zelenskyy, but only, he says, for the final phase of negotiation. He gave this performance in St. Petersburg, draped in the tones of diplomacy, but saturated with cordiality and conditionality. He will not come to talk peace unless he gets to define its terms. The timing is exquisitely cynical. As Kyiv buries civilians killed in recent drone attacks, over 100 in the past week, Putin announces his willingness to talk. Not while ceasing fire, but while intensifying horror. And Phidias comes out with more Putin propaganda. Let's be clear, this is not the first time Putin has postured as a peacemaker. In fact, over the last 100 days alone, Russia has rejected a US brokered ceasefire, escalated attacks on civilian targets, and deployed nearly 440 drones in a single night. Putin talks peace with a blooded fist. He's not proposing negotiation, he's dictating surrender. And Ukraine's foreign minister, Andrei Sybiha, rightly notes that 100 days of Russian manipulations, 100 days of terror, not peace, and he's quite right. And while Western diplomats, and Donald Trump particularly, with his theatrical "do me a favour, Vladimir," have floated talks of talks, Putin has used every diplomatic overture as a cover to reload. So what's the game? First, Putin's appeal to Trump. By appearing reasonable, he boosts Trump's line that peace is one phone call away. If only I were in the White House, Putin might be encouraged to say to Trump. And second, Putin is buying time. He's asking the world to pause while Russia reorganizes its economy into a war machine, imports thousands of North Korean workers and builds drone factories in Tatarstan and possibly even on Korean soil. Ceasefire? No, rearmament under a PR cloak. Thirdly, he's laying the groundwork for what Russia will later call diplomatic fatigue. If talks stall and collapse, as they inevitably will under his terms, Putin would say, "We offered peace. Ukraine refused." So why now? Because he's worried, not because Ukraine is winning, though it is holding, but because Russia is bleeding. 1,000 Russian casualties, economic pressure mounting, Western sanctions slicing through the war economy, and growing fears of regime fatigue at home. At the same time, the NATO summit has been trimmed largely to keep Trump from storming out, and in that vacuum, Putin wants to play statesman. He is speaking not to Zelenskyy, but to the West, especially to Europe, saying, look, I'm the one talking sense, you're prolonging the war, and this is, at its core, a performance, and not even a particularly convincing one. We mustn't be seduced. In the days since Putin's latest remarks, Ukraine has faced the deadliest assault on Kyiv this year. 28 dead, 142 injured. And this follows Moscow's systematic destruction of civilian infrastructure. To accept Putin's premise that is to accept the right of an aggressor to define when the victim may speak. Diplomacy must be grounded in honesty, and there's none to be found in Putin's weasel words. Zelenskyy has laid flowers outside an apartment block struck by a Shahed drone this week. He stood alongside families of the dead, and today he reminded the world Russia chooses killing, we choose peace, but not at the price of our sovereignty. This is a vital moral distinction. For Ukraine, peace must mean security, independence and dignity. For Putin, it means submission. So when Putin says he will meet Zelenskyy only at the final phase, what he means is this: only when Ukraine has been sufficiently bombed into compliance and Zelenskyy is on his knees. This is not a peace offer, it's an ultimatum in disguise. And we mustn't confuse theatre for diplomacy. This conflict will end not because Putin decides to be generous, but because he's finally forced to face the consequences of his brutality, politically, economically, and militarily, and it will probably come from his own side. Until then, any handshake he offers should be seen for what it is, the clenched fist of a man hoping we've all forgotten the blood still fresh on his hands.